Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Men and Sex. I'm your host, Mr. Wood. This podcast is all about normalizing some of the most taboo conversations. Here we talk about sex, we talk about masturbation, we talk about porn, we talk about intimacy. Today, we're going to have a really juicy conversation. I've got Dr. Elliot Justin with me, CEO FirmTech, background in emergency medicine and healthcare technology consulting. And we're going to talk about what is called erectile dysfunction, but there's so much more to say about this. Welcome to the show, Elliot. I'm excited to dive in with you.
It's great to be here. Should we start with a definition?
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, by the way, is your last name really Wood?
it really is wood.
Wood. Okay. Just have to clear it up. Um, so the, the official definition of erectile dysfunction from the International Society for Sexual Medicine is as follows. It has three clauses. And part of the problem with the way in which we deal with erectile dysfunction goes to the definition. The definition is fundamentally flawed. And one of the goals I have in my medical career is to get the ISSM, International Society of Sexual Medicine, to change the definition. So here's the definition. First clause, inability or great difficulty in getting an erection. Well, that's dysfunction, and that's a dying dick. And if that's your problem, can't get an erection, or you really struggle to get an erection, it's highly likely you have a cardiovascular or metabolic problem or urologic problem, and you should see a doctor. The second half of the definition is difficulty maintaining erection. Well, the problem with that part of the definition is that's all men. We all can have what I prefer to call erectile disappointments rather than erectile dysfunction. It's not dysfunction. We should not be shaming ourselves with, oh, I got DD. I'm embarrassed to talk about it. I'll go online and get some pills. Now, what difficulty maintaining erection? I'll just pick on you, Ian. Ian, how old are you right now, if I might ask, approximately?
I'm 41.
Ian, um, when you were 12 years old and a girl held your hand and gave you a peck on the cheek, how long did you get a hard on for?
A
Yeah,
long time.
a long time. When was the last time it happened? Oh my God, man, you got ED. I can see you got a really bad case of ED. Well, so it's bullshit. So as we get older, we don't keep blood in our fingers as long as readily and for as long as it did when we were young. Some of the sex therapists like to say, well, that's because we've gotten used to sex. The sex is so fresh at that age. Bullshit. Believe me, my imagination, and I'm 73, Ian, I'm certain your age, my imagination about sex right now is a lot more profound than it was at age 12. At age 12, I didn't even know what the fuck fucking was about. But yet, nevertheless, I was getting rock hard for an hour and a half. So it has nothing to do, this is not largely a mental issue. There's a profound physical component here.
Yeah.
So if you're getting an erection, now obviously there are things we have more in our mind at I pick on myself, age 70, like I did when I was 20 years old. When I was 20 years old, I could probably put my dick in a goat if I were turned on. At my age, certainly by the time I was 30, things had changed.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about my first experience of ED in just one moment. Uh, ED in quotes. But, you have mental distractions. Hey, could be that the last couple of times you had a problem. It could be you and your wife, your girlfriend had a fight early in the day and just it's all in your mind. Maybe there's something going on at work, something going on with the kids. Maybe you shouldn't have that fourth cocktail. Maybe three was your limit. Or maybe smoking that entire joint with your son was a mistake. Because you're older now, and or it could be that we're taking medications that are commonly prescribed by doctors that interfere with your sexual performance. Most antidepressants, a lot of the antihypertensives. But if you're getting hard, primary goal of therapy should be to keep blood in. Now, the erection pills don't produce erections, just put a little more blood in. Viagra is the Cialis. They put a little blood in it, but they don't keep it there.
Yeah.
Only a ring will keep it there. The third part of the definition is, or you cannot have satisfactory intercourse. Well, satisfactory to whom, by the way?
Yeah.
I have a couple of patients who tell me they have no trouble having sex, but they don't enjoy it, and they've been labeled by their doctors as having ED. Well, is it really ED? I mean, satisfaction to whom? Something else going on mentally with these guys that
Yeah.
is preventing them from really enjoying sex. But that's not really erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction means your erections aren't working, to my mind. And the
Yeah.
second and last part is intercourse. Well, how did that become the end all be all? I mean, if you talk to, you know, women have been rescued from the vaginal orgasm back before, back when you were younger, Ian, when you were still in the sandbox, and I was going out with women in the 70s and 80s. The There was this whole obsession. Oh, a woman has to have vaginal intercourse in order to be mature. Well, it doesn't work the way most women. The clitoris is too far away from the opening of the vagina. Most women, like 20% of women, 50% of women climax easily. Not even climax during intercourse, and
Yeah.
about 5% do it easily. So it really shouldn't be about intercourse at all. It should be about it should be about being able to have an orgasm, not have a satisfactory intercourse. I got patients who have no trouble masturbating, but they can't come with their wives or their girlfriends. Well, is that ED, or is that just like, or is that a problem? So we don't.
Right.
So we've made pathological, we've medicalized something that for a lot of guys is actually just part of the aging or part of the problem. I'll give you another analogy. Ian, do you run as fast now as you did when you were 20 or 15?
Probably not.
Probably not. You're probably Ian.
I don't even know how fast I run now, so
Ian, I think you have RD, running dysfunction. Matter of fact, I'm looking at you, Ian. Ian, you don't want to end up like me. I got a really bad case of running dysfunction. I'm 73. So but it costs you some money. But Ian, I've got a whole series of exercises, supplements, therapies for you to do. So for the vast majority of men, if you can't get an erection, struggle to get an erection, that's ED, and that's 12 to 50% of men, and that's a major problem. But for the vast majority of men, get an erection and lose it. It's not dysfunction. It's a problem that can be figured out and fixed, and with rings being the way of doing it for most men.
yeah, I think about my own experience because a lot of men that I talk to in this world, it's performance anxiety that relates to either finishing early or going soft. And I was on the side of going soft, and I remember all it took was it happening one time. And then it was the stress of is it going to happen again that created a whole other mountain of a challenge that I had to overcome. Just get back to square one was just my mind creating the stress going into my bloodstream, doing the things that it does to my body. It was just like, oh my God, is that going to happen? Not in my body, not feeling the pleasure. So that was really what got me on my journey. What that led me into having to take any pills was like the mind just getting the best of me.
Yeah, and the pills in most men are a little more effective than placebo. And that's been demonstrated in research. So, look, two things. Several things come to mind. One, the virility supplement industry is a multi-billion industry in the United States. We've tested 9 supplements. We haven't found a single one that works. A test in the sense that we're looking at, do they produce more nocturnal blood flow? Because your number, duration of firmness, your nocturnal erections is a leading indicator of your cardiovascular and sexual health. It'll tell you, am I healthy or not? So in other words, a healthy man has 3 to 5 nocturnal erections per night. They last about 45 minutes on average, each per, and they are about a 6 to a 7 on a 110 firmness scale. If a guy is having nocturnal erections and can't perform sexually, his problem is probably psychological. There could be other things contribute to it, like alcohol.
Yeah.
There could be other things contribute, like, hey, I'm just not attracted to this person. But you know if you're not attracted to someone else. So, I mean, the guys to my mind who struggle to have sex with someone they're not attracted to and call that ED, that ain't ED, dude. That's pushing a big rock up a hill. It ain't gonna happen. So the data that you can get from utilizing our TechRing is life changing. So here are two extremes. We've had 6 men get cardiac catheterizations because their nocturnal erection data was so poor. That's life changing.
Wow.
Uh, by the way, 3 of those men were divorced by their wives because their wives bought them the TechRing. The men were blaming their wives. Oh, you're ugly, whatever. You can't get a blowjob. But it turned out that the guys had serious cardiovascular problems, and the women
Whoa.
pissed off about being demeaned. But anyway, they got cardiac catheterizations. At the other extreme, there are men who were going to get penile implants who didn't get it because their data showed that they did not have erectile dysfunction. They had a psychological problem.
Wow.
Uh, so the key questions that men need to ask themselves are, um, Is my problem getting it up or is my problem keeping it up? If your problem is getting up, it's probably medical. If your problem is keeping it up, multifactorial. Could be psychological, alcohol, drug related, or medical. Um, and the other key question is, do I have this problem when I'm masturbating, or is my problem partner related? I've got a guy right now who he's he's in his mid 30s. He was seeing he's persuaded himself that he has physical erectile dysfunction and that he has what's called venous leak syndrome, which is that, you know, what is we all have venous leak. I mean, when we get blood into our penis and then it leaks out of our penis, and some people it happens faster than others.
Yeah.
Uh, and and this guy is like every woman's dream. Ian, I know you're close to this. He's 6'4". He's making seven figures, and he's got like a 12 pack. He's a he played professional athlete for 1 year. He's now in the finance sector in New York,
Wow.
and he's injecting on every one of his dates. So there's a medication called Trimix that will
Yeah.
produce an erection, and it's popular with two groups: popular gay guys who party, really, or people in the polyamorous, fat life world. Because what happens to a guy, something around 25 naked people, most guys who are over the age of 25 or 30 find it hard to get up just because the situation is so, distracting. Um, so, with the injection, you're going to be hard for several hours. The problem with injecting frequently is it can lead to scarring. It can lead to a bent penis. It can lead to what's called Peyronie's disease, and have other potential, effects. Uh, but this guy's injecting because he's screwing 3 or 4 new women a week. He's meeting them online. Of course, they all swipe on him because the guy, he's it, So, uh, but he's 35 or 36. He's 35 years old. He actually has, like most men, he ain't 20 years old anymore. He actually, in my opinion, has trust issues. He's with strangers, but he wants to perform every time because these girls are so hot. But he's actually putting himself at risk. This is injecting. And
Wow.
I mean, so he got the TechRing. TechRing showed that he had normal nocturnal erections. That his problem was in his head. He didn't want to accept that. I got venous leaks. I know you don't have venous leak.
Whoa.
My recommendation is maybe you should actually date someone once or twice before fucking them. Maybe develop a rapport so that you have confidence. Well, he didn't want to hear that. Because he wants to get up all the time. So, um, but is that ED? I mean, he thinks he has ED. So my point, getting back to my point about definition is this guy, it's not. Oh yeah, the other point was I asked this guy, well, what can you masturbate? Oh, there's no problem masturbating. So that's not really ED. That
It's really fascinating because you spoke to the performance side here, which is one of the main things that I'd love to hear your thoughts on this is like one of the things that men are facing today that they've never faced before is the amount br- of content that our brain is filled with from the performance lens. That porn is always a performance. There's a camera person, there's lighting, there's all these different theatrical things going on, and we're seeing this performance, and so it's like taking on from such an early age this performance mindset that, like you said, man, take them on a couple dates, like gain some connection. There's something about being a mammal that there seems to be something around connection being an important factor in a lot of this. But, that performance mindset overrides that and creates, I think, even a more of a problem in this department, like you're saying.
Yeah, but there are things that men can do to optimize their performance that most straight guys are unaware of. So, I got into this for the data, and
Oh, really?
yeah, not for the ring. I got
Cool.
into this because 4 years ago, a urology professor at the University of Utah said he wanted to count the number of nocturnal erections that men have. And I said, what the fuck for? Why do we care? And why was he asking me this? I'm a sensor technologist, and as well as a doctor. And I said, well, why do we care about nocturnal erections? He said, because they're a leading indicator of men's cardiovascular and sexual health. I said, well, that's incredible because that would be a vital sign that be a lot more interesting to men than how many steps you took yesterday, your blood pressure or your pulse, or your heart rate variability. And I invented the TechRing. Uh, my thought was we need to embed sensors into an erection ring, but I can't use the conventional rings. These hard plastic things that they pinch, they're uncomfortable. You can't wear them for 20, 30 minutes. Matter of fact, they just suck. So my thought was I have to reinvent the erection ring. So and the idea of the erection ring material came from my wife actually. I was scratching her back after she takes her bra off. I would guess that half of the sex in a heterosexual world, like a bit of relationship or a marriage, starts when a guy is scratching his wife or girlfriend's back because the bra pulls on the skin because it's made out of silicone. And I saw a stress ball on her desk and thought, duh, a stress ball is made out of you know, soft, stretchy elastomer, not hard silicone. Let's make a cock ring out of elastomer because that way we will not choke off the blood flow. It's not going to be one of these O-rings you get in the sex toy store online, which they pinch, they're uncomfortable. They never caught on. I mean, and because essentially with those things, you're lynching your dick. You got to have a hard on. You put it on, cuts off the blood flow, and like 15, 20 minutes later, it hurts. You want the damn thing off. So with elastomer, you can actually design it as ours designed to allow most of the arterial blood to flow in, doesn't prevent the erections, and constrain the venous return. Constrain like plugging a sink,
Yeah.
50%, 50, 60%. So you end up with a long lasting erect. You don't block erections; they might last a little bit longer, depending on how much stimulation you're getting. So um, so the R rings are made out of a soft, comfortable elastomer. They have zero side effects. They open and close with a hook like a bra. So the easy on, easy off, and then like no other cock ring that that's out there. So I got into it for the data, and the data, as I said before, is can be life changing in terms of people's health, and people can use the data to measure the impact of diabetes, hypertension, atherosclerosis, medications upon their sexual health performance. But I realized that I'd also solved the cock ring problem. I redesigned the cock ring. I made them out
Yeah.
of a different material. And they go on differently. Ours, you drop your balls in, and it wraps around. They don't slide down the shaft. Um, and then I got interested in, well, can I quantify objectively the benefit of cock rings, erection rings for men? And I don't like calling them cock rings, but then it sounds like a sex toy novelty thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to call it erection ring because it is assessing your erection. It's also sustaining your erection. So why are cock rings better than not using a cock ring? And any guy, Ian, any man that's listening to this tonight can prove this to himself.
Yeah.
Just got to do the following. Get, go to Pornhub, eliminate the variables. Try not to drink or smoke pot. Uh, don't have your wife or girlfriend around or boyfriend around. Just go to Pornhub or wherever the heck you go when you want it, when you're jerking off. Get rock hard. And then nothing. Turn full of stimulation. And your erection will go down 25, 35 seconds. Then get rock hard and put a ring on it. Ours, of course, is the best. But if you don't have a ring at home, you probably could find some rubber bands or something that you can put around your dick. And you're gonna stay harder for one 25, 35 seconds. So what's that telling you? It's telling you that even though, hey, I don't have ED, oh gee, I can actually last longer. So here's what the research shows. That there were three studies looking at erection rings and during sex. So two of the studies, we had men masturbate. We didn't. These have been pen studies, but the researchers had men masturbate, get rock hard, and then nothing. Erection goes down about 30 seconds. Take 10 to, no, that's one night. Next night, take 10 milligrams of tadalafil, which is the most Cialis, most common prescribed erection pill.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. Get rock hard, climax, and see how long it takes to go down. It's about close to 2 minutes. Then another night, put a ring on it. Ours, of course, being the best. I got to put in that plug again. But put a ring on it, and now you're gonna be hard for close to over 3 minutes. Both together, pill and ring, over 4 minutes. And the takeaway for all men should be, oh, if I want to optimize my performance, put a ring on it, take a pill. And of course, the pills have side effects, and the rings don't.
Yeah.
The other thing that to make a man have a more intense orgasm, and that involved applying. Are we on video here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ring goes on like this. Uh, the balls get dropped in. Oops. Sits like that. But here, it's putting the right amount of pressure over the urethra
Hmm.
to draw out the ejaculation. The longer the ejaculatory phase, the more intense the orgasm. So my orgasm with our rings goes from 4 seconds on average to 7 seconds. The orgasm lasts a lot longer than that, but that's the ejaculatory phase. But the longer the ejaculatory phase, the longer the glow of the orgasm feelings are. Uh, well, that's a more intense orgasm, And so why would I not have sex without a ring? Why would I have sex without a ring? I mean, 4 years ago, Ian, if you told me, Dr. Justin, you're going to talk about cock rings the rest of your career, I would have said, like most guys, I'm good. I don't do that. And now I realize it's not about being good. It's about being great. So here are five questions. Ian, use cock rings?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so you're experienced. So, but use them regularly?
No, not regularly, but it's more of like it's a fun thing every once in a while.
Sure. We got to get to one of ours. But here are the
Yeah.
questions. Here are the five questions the guys should need to ask themselves. Um, do you want to get harder? Of
Yeah,
course.
I talk about this all the time, and I'm such a inner scientist of my own experience, and there's something about the hardness that it feels powerful. And I've done a lot of the psychological and emotional work to pull that aside, and still it's just like it feels there's something, it's like the pillar, it's the pillar,
Sure.
it's the fertility, it's this, it feels powerful.
Well, with a name like Wood, you want to be able to knock him out with your dick, I assume. So, uh, anyway, the re the average men will increase their girth with our rings by 3 to 5 millimeters. That's not a lot. I mean, no one's going to walk by and say, "Oh, fucking porn star, look at that." But that's more blood you can hold in your penis with. Beyond a rock hard, this cock ring hard. You can't get there with a vagina, mouth, a butt, or a hand. You can only get that hard with a ring. So you want to rock harder. We all want to rock harder. Do we want to last longer? Of course. There's a study done by a doctor in Japan of men with really bad ED, not guys like you and me, men who are unable to sustain intercourse because of medical problems they have, and they're taking pills and they can't do it. By putting our ring on, 100% of these men are able to have intercourse for 10 minutes. And on average, they stay hard inside a vagina for 8 minutes after climaxing.
Wow.
That's life changing. So, do you want to last longer? Of course. Do you want to have more confidence? Talk about myself. Ian, I like to drink. I don't want to get drunk. I like drink. I'd like to know that I can have 3 cocktails and still perform. Without the ring, I might get tired. With the ring on, it's game on. It doesn't make a difference because it's a game changer. Uh, then there's confidence in your partner. Why does my wife like the ring? Well, like most women who love their men, she's not just thinking about her own pleasures. She's thinking about my pleasure. So let's talk realistically about typical sexual engagement between a man and a woman who are in a relationship. The man gets hard. He goes down on his partner. Why? Because that's how they come. And meanwhile, without a ring, he's now losing his erection because 10 minutes have gone by or whatever. So what does a woman like about it? Well, my wife likes it because I'm going to stay hard for 30 to 45 minutes with minimal stimulation. She doesn't have to think about me.
Tell me like the technology and the from a doctor perspective, is the ring, so it's easier for the blood to flow in and it kind of holds it in a way so it doesn't flow out as easily?
That's right. It's permissive. I mean, here's your conventional cock ring. Like I played around once, twice a year. You know, it's hard. It pinches uncomfortable. In order to be most effective, you got to be fully erect, and you put it on, and then you're putting a gasket in your dick. And tightening it. Um, our rings allow the arterial blood to flow in, and only and only partially block the venous return. So, uh, so they're comfortable for longer periods of sexual activity. I don't know about you, Ian, but I'm not done at 10 minutes. I don't want if I come in 10 minutes, I'm almost wasted the experience. I want to have sex 30 to 45 minutes, and I want to be comfortable. Um, what does my wife like about the ring? Among other things, more confidence in me. She also likes the fact that I stay hard after I come. And it's not that, we married a long time, married 38 years. In a successful marriage, the woman comes first and maybe third. Um, you know, she does. I'm not. I mean, I have young guys who like the ring because it keeps them hard. They can stay, keep on thrusting. But that's not the issue between Ann and I. The issue is the male mindset is come and done.
Yeah.
I had orgasm. What's well today? It's like it's like getting messages or let's have a drink or let's do something else. Let's go to sleep. But if you're hard, comfortably hard after you've had a climax, you're still intimately engaged, and that's different
Well, and the
on
key
that. So
thing, you also talked about confidence, and I think one of the main things is, like I said in my own journey, what got in the way for me was the worry. And so like something with what you're talking about is that it helps take the worry away. And something that I think, as it goes into pills that I noticed for myself is it was kind of taking my body out of the equation. It was just like forcing my body to do something, and then it was like less of my body's intelligence involved, and it wasn't building confidence in the same way. And I can see something like this is building confidence so I can relax more, and my body's just going to be functioning better. And with those repetitions, it's like I can relax. What I like to say is relax more into my arousal.
yeah, well, there's I mean, I'm older than you. I would say prior to using using our ring, both my wife and I would have in the back of our minds, well, how long am I going to last? Oh, it's too late at night. Maybe we shouldn't have that third glass of wine. We have those things, on our mind, or sometimes we just be pissed off at each other and we want to have sex, but kind of not in the mood. I'm going to give an example. Um, because there are three things that men don't like about three things that men don't like about the female partners they might even love, but they don't want to talk about with their partners. We talk a lot about the importance of communication in relationships, but uh, sometimes people can over communicate. So one of them is a lot of women in the middle of sex, even when they're really turned on, in a committed relationship, not when you're first dating them, but a committed relationship, will suddenly think they have to talk about something else that's on their mind. They got to clear their head. Something with the kids, something with, hey, I mean, my wife, a couple, like we're in business together with this business. She does our creative assets. Like, I gotta tell you an idea I just had. No, you don't. We're fucking right now. You don't tell me this at all. Or it could be, you know, oh, I forgot to tell you, her mother's like 100. She just died recently, but my mother's like, almost 100 years old. Oh, I forgot to tell you something that the medical question about Beth. No, you talk about that right now. And by the way, I don't want to hear, anyway, you get the point.
Yeah.
And this is I'm not gonna say this, it's a superpower that women have. It's an annoying power. And both my sister-in-laws do it. And before I got married, I did have some girlfriends who I lived with who also, did. Not true of all women, but true of many of them. So when I came up with the ring, the prototype for the ring, it was about 4 years ago. It was a cold night in February, 3.5 years ago, and snowing outside. I'm in Montana, and my wife told me in the middle of sex, and, oh, I think I left the garage door open. Well, one, now we're now starting to lie. You think you left the garage door open? No, you left the garage door open because you just thought it. Well, let's don't unthink that. But I think I left the garage door open. Oh, and of course it's snowing. Now there's not a marriage in the world or a male female partnership in the world where the woman then jumps out of bed and says, "I'll take care of it. You stay here, play with yourself. I'll be back." That's just not the way it works. Maybe in your experience, not in my experience. So I gotta get out of bed. Now, ordinarily for me, that time we were married 36 years, it would have been a, what the fuck? You can't keep that thought to yourself in a moment. Pissed off. Now, so I go downstairs, garage door's open, and her car door's open because she would take groceries in probably. I'm coming back inside, coming up the stairs. My wife says, "Oh, can you go back to the kitchen? You know that tequila I like? Could you get me some? Oh, don't forget the ice." Pause, about 10 seconds. Oh, and a little bit of lime too. Now, ordinarily now it would have been a major male, what the fuck? Get your own fucking tequila. We're not having sex tonight. Blah blah blah. Moment. Uh, but I come up the stairs. And she points at my dick that's still kind of used wearing the ring, and I'm still hard. Not totally hard, but hard enough. She says, well, it was a test, Elliot. I knew the garage door was the truth, but tequila was a test. And look at you. You're ready to have sex. And ordinarily, in these circumstances, would have been a fuck you moment. So the and you know, a guy who's not worried about losing his erection is in a very different mindset than a man who's worried about losing his erection. And
When
that's
you
the
when
power of
you
it. Go ahead.
when you first made it, was its main intention to measure the nocturnal erections and get that data, and you just learned like through that process that it also helped with all the other benefits as well?
I got to this with the data. And the rest of it just came. If you again, well, one, I, I realized that I solved the problem that cock rings are uncomfortable. And two, the data showed that most men don't have ED. They just got a
Yeah.
problem. So here it is. I'll get back to the data again. So the incidence of erectile dysfunction, official erectile dysfunction, is that it goes up 10% per decade after age 30. That's a big number. By my age, 70%. So the expectation of urologists was that as men get older, the number of nocturnal erections will come down, the firmness of nocturnal erections come down, and the firmness of sex erections will come down. But our data, and the data now set, I remember we had like 40,000 erections. I was like scratching my head saying, but wait a second, guys in their 60s are just as hard as guys in their 30s. The data is trying to tell me something. What it is, it's going to be something really simple. And then I realized, oh, most men don't have ED. They've been diagnosed as having we've medicalized the problem again. It isn't really if you're staying hard when you, at night and when you're having sex, you don't. But when you're older, you don't have ED. So why are men reporting more ED even though they don't have it? Well, it's because we've men lose their erections faster as they get older. It's not about getting the erection for most men. It is for some men, but not about getting the erection. It's about keeping the erection. And that is a problem on the venous side of the circulation, not the material side of the circulation. And that was, so that's like, got it through the data. The data is profoundly valuable, and the data is refuting a lot of conventional wisdom. But on the functional side, the benefit side, the data is saying, hey, if guys in their 60s just as hard as guys in their 30s, why are they reporting erectile dysfunction? Well, it's because they'll lose their erections faster. Not because they're getting hard, but they're losing their erections. And the reason that they're losing their erections is not a primary dysfunction like my
And I feel like one of the positive benefits from getting that data, oh, my nocturnal erections are getting
normal,
this hard and they're
right?
more towards normal. That gives me information to be curious about and have a foundation of, okay, maybe there isn't something wrong with me. My habits, my behaviors, my patterns, the ways I've been going about this, the stress I've been carrying about thinking I'm broken or something is wrong with me is having an impact, which would actually lead me in the direction of, whether it's cardiovascular or whatever it is, to start to actually learn what might actually support me.
Well, a lot of older guys will self-diagnose until they have ED when they have no problem masturbating, but they have a problem with their partner. So here, what are the other two things that men complain about women, but they don't want to communicate to them? Well, in fact, I keep start talking about random stuff during sex. But one is boredom. You know, I so obviously if some strange 40-year-old woman walks into my room right now, bends over that sofa opposite me, hey Ian, I'm gone. That would really turn me on. If my wife walked in here and bent over the sofa, it just wouldn't have the same impact. Now, why is that? Well, she's got a nice butt, but we've made love so many damn times. It's it's not. There are times when that bores me, and I'd rather, frankly, have a mouth or a hand than have vagina, which leads to the third complaint that men have, older men, which is that your pussy's too loose. Now, no guy wants to tell his partner that, but uh, it's an issue. For a man to climax, you got to get friction. If a woman has had lots of children, the woman or is just older, It just isn't the same. And but men don't want to discuss those things with their partners, and we kind of kind of regard failure at penetrative sex as ED. It's not. You know, we men get dumped on a lot. We
Yeah.
got toxic masculinity, mansplaining, porn addiction, erectile dysfunction. The one that really makes me laugh is the death grip. Do you know about the death grip?
Oh yeah. I would
Yeah.
love for you to, I would love to hear a doctor talk about it to the
It's like
listeners though.
the death grip is bullshit. Look, if you're, the death grip, just for people don't know what it is. It's like, okay, we got guys are spending, guys are porn addicted, whatever that is. Guys are porn addicted. They spend so much time jerking off that they can't, that their hands like a death grip. They can't come without a hand. Well, how is it that my wife's hands a love grip and my hand's a death grip? You know, explain it to me and that just is what blows up the whole thing. Um, now, a typical story from a guy from one of my patients or customers, or is guy's 55 years old. They've had two or three kids. Goes to bed with his wife, goes down on her. He loses his erection while he goes down on her. And then she is in her post-orgasmic, typical female mindset. Just fuck me. Just take me. Do anything you want to me. She doesn't mean that literally. Um, but, just take me. Well, what's she really offering? She's offering up her vagina to him. Well, he's now half hard. Uh, maybe if the vagina is not what he wants at that moment, maybe what he really likes at that moment is a blowjob followed by a hand job. Um, he would like that friction. A vagina is very limited the type of friction that I can deliver to a man.
Hmm.
It's just a puke. All there is the puke bone, and then it's a tunnel. A hand or a mouth. These are incredible organs that can deliver all sorts of variants of friction sensation to men. And we just don't talk realistically about this. With men, we emphasize penetrative sex. But if we go back in time with women, there was once a time, and it was crippling to women, when we talked about, hey, you gotta have a vaginal orgasm. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
For some reason, for guys, we're expected to elevate as the ultimate of a vaginal orgasm. Hey, I like it. I'm not. Believe me. I
Yeah.
get it. But for
Yeah.
me, and for most men, older men, it's just one thing that we like. It's not the be all and end all. And why is that? Why do demote to many men, talking to many men, why do they prefer, they might not want to admit it, but why do they prefer a hand or a mouth? It's because of this, you know, it's not because of dominance. It's because this is the variety of sensations that could be delivered. So we
Hmm.
don't, so, we don't insist that women have vaginal orgasms, but there's sort of this insistence that a man should have, so, and a lot of, a lot of men don't want to talk about with their partners. And if you don't talk about their partner, they're not going to get it. Um, and also, it goes against the most common female fantasies of just take me. Hey, I get it. Hey, I like being out of control too. I totally get it. But what if it might not be the most way in which I prefer to have it, to have an orgasm.
So
So
besides men staying harder with this device and on the data side of things, I'm guessing you guys have an app connected to this.
yes,
And what kind of information are men getting? I'm sure they're seeing like maybe like an aura ring. It's reporting how many nighttime erections they got or whatever. What kind of information are they getting in real time?
sure. Uh, you're getting the duration, number, firmness, nocturnal erections that are a leading indicator of your cardiovascular and sexual health. Leading indicator means they're predictive. You're also getting your duration firmness of your sex erections as well. So with this information, we also provide notifications. Well, for one thing, in the user experience, you're being compared to a data set of close to 5,000 men. Uh, but you're also getting notifications like, yo, Ian, you're having 50% more sex this month than last month. Way to go, dude. Keep it up. Or it could be, hey, Elliot, your nocturnal erections have gone from an average of 6.6 firmness to a 4.2. Has there been a change in your medications, your
Ooh.
lifestyle? Maybe you should maybe if this persists, you maybe should consider seeing a doctor.
Hmm. And So, I see that, and I see the positive side of, okay, I think I've given myself this label ED, and okay, I'm seeing that I'm having healthy amount of nocturnal erections, and I'm getting that information. I see the positive of that side. And then what's the positive? Because I'm sure there's a lot on the other side, which is, okay, my nocturnal erections aren't on the normal scale. What information could I work with there that I could help my cardiovascular health or whatever that information is giving me?
Look, it's important for us to be in good cardiovascular condition for many reasons. And obviously, when it comes to sex, if you get winded after a few thrusts, and have to lie on your back, you got a problem. But but most of the information is really on the medical side. Hey, hey Elliot, you are below average for duration or firmness. Um, you're taking these medications that could be having a negative impact on that. Uh, we also, people can self-record. They tell us how much they drink, how much they smoke. So the notification could be, hey, Elliot, having 6 drinks at night is probably not a good idea. Um, maybe you should go, so all these things are built in, and people can share their data with their doctors as well.
Hmm. 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 I've been hearing this is like I'm curious because you're in the medical world and obviously you believe in it enough that you have put invested yourself into the technology. I'm hearing more about us as men looking at our nocturnal erections as a sign of our health. It seems like this is a growing
Heart
thing
health.
right now to
They're a sign
really
of our
look
heart
at
health.
this.
That's right. They're a sign of our heart health. Um, why is that? Because before you have a heart attack, before you have a blockage in your larger arteries, you'll have blockages in smaller arteries. And we so our penis is very, very sensitive to decreases in blood flow. So our number of nocturnal erections is as a leading indicator of cardiovascular health. Leading meaning if the number goes down by 50%, you got a close to 50% chance of having a cardiovascular event next 2 or 3 years. So it, it's really valuable in terms of assessing your heart health. Probably more valuable than blood pressure. So your blood pressure, we follow blood pressure, but it's blood pressure associated with, say, stroke. It's not predictive. Even if guys, my blood pressure goes from 110 over 70 to 130 over 90. My doctor will probably put me on a pill. That might be, that might even, sorry. That might not even be a good idea. Apologize. My microphone was drifting away. That might not be a good idea. But my blood pressure goes to 200, then I got a problem. So it's an association. The nocturnal erections are a leading indicator. They are predictive. So it's really important for people to follow this, follow them.
What's the best way if a man is interested in trying it out? What's the best way for him to go about that? What do you guys recommend? Just get the ring and do you guys have like a standard protocol for everyone? Do they wear it at night all the time or just try, what's the
You,
lead into
yeah,
it?
sure. You need several data points. One data point is not enough. Same thing like with blood pressure or cardiac arrhythmia or anything. So we recommend at least 3 to 4 nocturnal readings because we want to establish a trend. And it could be, hey, I got drunk that night. My data's poor. I didn't get drunk the night next night. My data's great. So you want to really you ideally you want to get data when you've relatively normalized what you're doing in terms of alcohol, drugs, things of that nature. And then we recommend one sex, one solo, and if you have a partner, have sex with a partner. Then we can compare those two together, but we can also compare your duration of firmness when you're having sex to your duration of firmness of your nocturnal erections. So about 5 to 6 data points is what we recommend. Now, the use of the device is really variable. I mean, obviously, I'm involved with the company, so I use it more often than not. But my data is good. So, for a guy my age of 73, I would say, you know, um, once a week is probably good for your data. And
Yeah.
just the way if you have high blood pressure, check it once a week. You don't have to check it all, religiously all the time. Plus, there are guys who do really get into it. They're and I don't quite know why, but of course we love it because it generates data and sales. But the people look. Do you need to wear your Oura ring all the time? Do you need to wear your Whoop all the time? Isn't there a certain consistency? Because by the way, there should be certain consistency to your data, and obviously, there are things like alcohol and drugs, and that can affect your overnight data. But overall, I mean, I had an aura, and it was okay. I gave it to my daughter. My data became. I didn't find the data to be valuable because I'm actually more concerned about my blood pressure and things of that nature, and my sexual health, but than I am about my heart rate variability during sleep. I don't think that's a fuzzy number, not of, in my opinion, not a profound value.
Yeah.
I realize people are in it, but we got guys who use it every day, and they tend to be guys who also are really into their data. The guys will have like, so I got a video call with me, and they got a Whoop band, and they got an Aura, maybe they got an Apple Watch, they got a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. So there are people who are really, really into their data, and they generate a lot of data. But getting back to your point, and I know I shouldn't be talking down the use of my product. Yes, you need to use it, Ian. You need
Every
to use this
day.
every day, every
Yeah.
day. No, if once you want, if assuming you're in good health, then once a week is probably enough. Now, if you're starting a new medication, if you're considering new therapy, for guys who are like thinking about getting shockwave therapy for the penis or Botox injections, or for stem cell injections, or maybe taking HCG, or there are a lot of interventions proposed for men. I recommend getting a baseline and measure the impact of that therapy objectively.
I think that's a good point, particularly for men that are going about making a decision of, because I have a lot of guys that do come to me, whether it's on Instagram or in my community, and they're asking these questions, and they're feeling shame, they're feeling brokenness, and they're wanting to make more drastic decisions, and really getting this baseline information to be like, oh, this is what, this is what's happening, or at least more understanding of in the direction to look at. Okay, I'm having really healthy nocturnal erections. It's not happening with intimacy with another person. I'm okay when I'm alone. Okay, well, that's a lot of information to say the problem isn't your body, it's what's going on in your mind and in connection to your body in the process of being intimate with another person.
Well, to your point, there's being physically broken, and then there's being emotionally broken. So physically broken with guys, it could be diabetes, it could be hypertension, it could be a heart attack. It could be drug and alcohol, related. Unfortunately, a lot of guys, they have good nocturnals, but their relationship with their partners stinks,
Yeah.
basically. And they're broken, and they could be broken because they've lost their sexual confidence. They could be broken because their wife or girlfriend has broken their confidence. Uh, and it's hard, divorce is hard, but it's, I have had, I'm certain, men this way. I have patients who they finally get the balls to leave, and they're miserable for 6 months. Oh, I'm broken. I'm miserable. I can't get it up. And then they meet the right person. And the whole thing is like, oh, it was in my head. It really wasn't, some terminal, psychological or physical problem, that I
Yeah.
have. So I'm an advocate of marriage, but I also feel if people being broken and there's no physical cause for it, maybe you should stay in that marriage. Maybe that marriage is toxic to your masculinity as opposed to as a toxic masculinity.
And of course, I'll put in the description the link for everyone to check this out. I don't know, the link to look at them. I don't know if you guys have any informational videos, but I'll put all that in the description.
We have them. Yeah.
Great. And yeah, I appreciate it. I want to try it. I want to get some data points on what's going on and learn.
Well, let's get your ring. After you have the call, email me your mailing address and we'll send you a sample.
I appreciate it, Elliot. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad that life has taken you in this direction, even though that you didn't expect it. And I think that we need more men, people with the background that you have, because this is a growing problem. There are more 20 and 30-year-olds taking pills and just getting in their own heads and thinking they're broken and going down that path, whereas something like this might give them the information to go, I'm not broken. There's something else going on here that I can work with.
One thing we didn't discuss was tea, and I think that every man should know what his tea is
True.
because if your tea is normal, you're going to want later on when you get older, you want to know, hey, I was good with a T, I'll make it up, the free T of 25. And now my free T is 5. Maybe I should take T. So, and what's the right dose? And now you can target that number as as you get older. I believe that T should be part of the standard of care. And there are guys out there who are broken because they're low T. And I'm taking care of guys right now in their 40s who aren't or they're initiating sex 2 or 3 times a month as opposed to 3 or 4 times a week. I've had 2 men, their wives came to me saying, "Look, I'm going to divorce him because you need to, help him." And these guys were significantly low T,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
better
and
now. With the right dose of T, guys will start initiating sex. They'll regain their confidence because so much of our confidence, so much of our feeling unbroken or unbreakable revolves around our sexual performance. We men are only as good as the last 2 or 3 erections. If we fail 2 or 3 times in a row, we probably should have our guns taken away from us. We probably shouldn't be allowed to drive a motorcycle. So men need to know what that T is.
Well, and in this discussion and the device that you have been a co-creator of is once again, I think in this world where there's a strong lack of clarity with this label erectile dysfunction, that really the only direction has been take a pill. And now we're opening the doors to, hey, could be a lot of different things going on with this label, and let's get some clearer data points to work with.
Exactly. Put a ring on it, get your data, get it on.
I appreciate you, Elliot. And of course, to the listeners, we'll have it all in the description. And I'm gonna get one and I'll have my own data points. So I'll probably make a video about it in the future or just reach out to me directly. Thank you again.
Thank you.